Welcome back, everybody. My name's John Sullivan, and you're watching Sportsbook Confidential. I'm coming to you live from the FingerLakes1.com studios in Seneca Falls, New York, and this little show here is to help you learn and grow as a sports bettor. And we got a good sportsbook lesson today on three-way markets. We have Euro 2020, which is actually being played in 2021 because of the COVID outbreak. It's a soccer tournament with most of the European national teams, and it's a very anticipated and highly followed event. I am not a soccer aficionado. I barely know who the superstars are, and I barely know what professional teams they play for. But I feel like this is an interesting opportunity to show you where you can find some value if you can do a little math. And if you're mathematically challenged, please try to follow along. I tried to make it as simple as possible, but hopefully you don't get in the weeds on this one. But it'll show you how you could save yourself some money, taking less of a risk, even though the betting is a little more complicated. But before we do that and get into our lesson, we're going to update our bankroll. And then, of course, after we're done with the lesson, we're going to talk about NHL and NBA, and I'll have picks for you. So let's get right to it. Let's update my bankroll. And had a starting bankroll of 236. I think I had 2 or 3 winning weeks in a row. Then we had Lewis Hamilton in the Azerbaijan Grand Prix, and he went off, locked his brakes up on the restart, and it was the first time in 57 races that he did not finish in the championship points, which I believe is the top 10. Some people say it was driver error. Some people say it was a brake malfunction. It seemed like driver error to me. He got the brakes way too hot, and then he tried to take the first corner, and the fronts locked up, and he just went straight off the track. But it was his race to win. Verstappen blew a tire. He was out of the race. He was restarting in second and was clearly the fastest car left in the field. It was very disappointing, but minus $8 to the bankroll. We had Chase Elliott in Sonoma in NASCAR. He finished second to his teammate Kyle Larson. Just didn't have enough for him. I said that Kyle Larson had been one to watch. I just didn't feel like on the road course that he would be better than Chase Elliott, but he was. So that's minus $8 to the bankroll. And then last weekend we had the New York Islanders at home, I believe, Game 4. And they won 4-1, and that was plus 125 odds, so that was plus $10 to the bankroll. We had the Vegas Golden Knights at home as well at plus 100. That was also a win. They have closed out. They won 4 straight against Colorado and closed out that series, plus $8 to the bankroll. Then we had the Dallas Mavericks against the up 3-2 against the Clippers. And they lost, I think it was 104-97, minus $8 to the bankroll. So if you do the math, that is minus $6 on the week. So we dropped down to 230, divided by 30 as we always do, because we try to remain selective sports bettors, makes our bet size $8 going forward. So we'll continue to grind as we work our way towards football season. So let's talk about three-way betting markets. I've already done an episode on defining three-way betting markets. You can look that up on YouTube. But we're going to do a quick review, and then we're going to talk about value in three-way markets. So the most common use of three-way betting is soccer wagers because it's 3 outcomes as opposed to 2. You have, in a regular season like MLS matchup, you have 2 teams play each other, and after 90 minutes, including injury time, if it's a tie, it's a tie. They stop. After 90 minutes, if one team's ahead, they win. So there's 3 possible outcomes: Team A, Team B, or draw. And it's mostly in soccer markets, also used in other markets such as boxing, maybe some other combat sports, where a draw is a possibility. You can bet a 3-way market. One team will win, or one fighter will win, or it'll be a draw. Compared to 2-way betting, where 2-way betting is a binary outcome. There's 2 possible outcomes. Side A or side B will be a winner. Example, Syracuse versus Duke in basketball. They play a basketball game at the end of regulation. If it's tied, they play overtime until somebody's a winner. There's no third option. Three-way betting adds additional outcome, which is the draw. This affects the odds being offered on each side. So because there's a third option, the odds you get for betting on A or B are vastly different. And that is a very important lesson we need to carry forward here. So in group stages of the soccer tournaments, they take, say there's 24 teams in the soccer tournament. They put them into 6 groups of 4, and they play a round robin where they play each person in their group, each team in their group one time. And then they go advance to the final 16, the best point scoring teams advance. And then they have a knockout stage where it's like in a single elimination tournament from that point forward. There is no extra time. There's no penalty kicks. This often makes the draw a viable outcome in the group stage. So, it's very possible. Teams may often play for a tie in the group stage, depending on what they need to advance. And it can be a very juicy bet in certain situations. However, there is a two-way option in the group stage called draw no bet. So that is a way for you to bet on a team and not worry about the draw. So if I want Team A over Team B and I pick the draw no bet, if Team A wins, I win my bet. If Team B draws, if A and B draw, I get my bet refunded. And if Team B wins, I lose my bet and I lose the money I risked. So it's a way to eliminate that three-way market. But is that necessarily a good thing to do? This is the question we're asking today. And I've got some math here. And we're going to take a look at an actual wager that's being offered right now at our local sports book. And I decided to use 2 teams that are pretty evenly matched, Scotland and Czech Republic. I think they're playing on Sunday. And you can see in the three-way market, Scotland is plus 95 to win in 90 minutes. Czech Republic is plus 175 to win in 90 minutes. And the draw is plus 195 to happen in 90 minutes. And then let's skip down quickly to draw no bet. Scotland is minus 103 to win in regulation. Czech Republic minus 117, but if it draws, you get your bet back. So looking at the very bottom of the screen, you can see if you bet $103 to win 100 on Scotland, you would win $100 if Scotland wins in regulation. You would get your money back if it was a draw, and you risked $103 total. However, if you make 2 bets in the three-way market, you'll see a different story. So if you bet $52.82 on Scotland to win $103, it should be for $100. I should have set this for $100, but you get the point. You bet $52.82 to win $103 on Scotland. And then you make a second bet on the draw. You bet $27.09 to win $52.82 on the draw. And what this does is it covers the same outcomes as the other bets. So if I win on Scotland, I win $103. And if I lose on the win bet, but I win on the draw, you will see that I would win $52.82 profit, which would cover my bet on Scotland in the first place. I didn't really do this math correctly, I see here as I'm pointing it out to you, but the idea being is that in this scenario, I only spent $79.91 on the three-way market, where I spent $103 on the two-way market. And I know I didn't do the math 100% correctly in this example, but the point of this whole exercise is that the three-way market offers a better value on your wager, on your desired wager, than the two-way market. So just because it's easier to understand the two-way bet doesn't mean it's a better wager to make. And this is an example of finding value in what the sportsbook offers to you. And all the math sharps are going to be very mad at me for the math I just did there. But the point being is that in this particular case, the three-way market is a better value than the two-way market on the same game. So if you're good at scribbling down some quick math problems, you can often find good value. And I feel like if you do follow soccer and you're interested in this tournament, it's something you should check out. So that's today's sportsbook lesson. Is there's value often in different places in the sportsbook that we don't really think to look. So maybe if you're an MMA fan or a boxing fan and you see a three-way market on a fight that you want, maybe you might want to check that out. So, and then of course, maybe even in golf, there might be a golf head-to-head with a three-way market where there might be a tie where the two golfers combine for the same score. So it's just another way to shop for value, to keep a little extra money in your pocket. Keep a little extra money in your pocket as you're fighting to raise your bankroll against the sports book. So now that we have discussed the three-way markets, let's talk quickly about the Euro 2020, which I am admittedly knowing very little about. But I'm looking at the odds here, and there are, I think, 24 teams, and there are 8 significant favorites, and then all the other teams, their odds to win are 25 to 1 and much higher. Obviously, France, England, Belgium, Italy, Portugal, Germany, Spain, and Netherlands. France and Germany are in the same group. They call it, whenever there's a tough group where there's good teams, because they draw the groups randomly, they call it a group of death. So I think France and Germany are in the same group as Portugal. I'm not 100% sure. There's another good team in that group. You can also not just bet on these teams to win the tournament, but to make the final or to make the semifinals. And then Germany, I thought these were good values. Germany plus 200 to make the Final Four. Portugal plus 220 to make the Final Four. I feel like watching, if you do watch, you could probably find some value in some of these group games before the knockout stages start. Because in the knockout stages, you'll have, you can bet a team to advance where, again, it's instead of draw no bet, it's team to advance where you bet, two-way market. One of those two teams is going to advance. And it could be on penalty kicks, which is something that could be high variance. So there could be some good value in this tournament. I know that there's a lot of people that follow this, follow international soccer. It's wildly popular around the world. Not my cup of tea, but it is something to consider if you're looking for something different to wager on at the sportsbook. So let us move along to the NHL playoffs, and we're down to the final 4 teams. And it appears that the Canadian government is going to let American team travel to Montreal for the semifinals. So we've got the Islanders at the Lightning to start off the one semifinal. Islanders won 3 straight to knock off the Bruins, and they faced the Lightning. And the Lightning are a very good team. The Lightning did not play most of the regular season without Stamkos or Kucherov. And I believe Kucherov is leading the NHL in playoff points right now. So obviously he's back and he's healthy, and they're a step up from where they were. That being said, I feel like the Islanders have something really good going here. They're a team that plays well with a lead. They don't give up too many penalties. And their goaltending has been solid. Varlamov has given up a fair share of rebounds, and so has Vasilevsky, though. I feel like the Islanders, this is not going to be like the Hurricanes. The Hurricanes surprised me. They petered out on the defensive end, and they just they just gave up too many goals to stay in that series. And if the Islanders can, keep these games lower scoring, they have a legit shot to advance. And they've got a great home ice advantage in the Nassau Coliseum. They already played in Boston. They already know how to deal with the Tampa Bay crowd. I feel like the Islanders could win 2 to 3 games in this series, even if they don't have a great series. So I like the Islanders at plus 160 there. That's a pretty juicy number. We'll see if that goes up or down between now and Sunday. And then on Monday, you got the Canadiens at the Vegas Golden Knights. That's going to be a very tough game for Montreal. They have not played in front of a crowd. They did allow fans into Montreal Bell Center during this last series, but they were on the upper bowl only, and it was probably like 4,000 or 5,000 people. It wasn't a lot. And they're going to have to go into Vegas, which is probably the best home ice advantage in the league. I feel like it's going to be really tough for the Canadiens in this first game. After things settle down, we'll see. They go up to Montreal, but Carey Price has played fabulous. I said before the playoffs started that if he was healthy, that he could carry them through a series, and he's carried them through 2. And they've played very well, and they've maintained their health for the most part. And it just remains to see whether they can score on Fleury or not. If they can score goals on Fleury, it's going to be a tough series. It's really going to be a tough series. Canadians, I think, are the long shot to win the Cup at like 9-1 right now. I don't really like their chances to get out of this series just because they're going to have to win at least one game in Vegas, and that's going to be a tall task. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. I don't think 200 is enough to bet on the Canadians. I would like to get 250, 275. If it ever got that high, it'd be worth a shot. But I like Vegas to win that game. I like the under in that game, the Canadiens-Vegas game. It's 5.5. Let's move on to the NBA playoffs. We got 4 series going right now. We got the Sixers at the Hawks. Hawks are 1.5 dogs at home. Embiid is playing, although it's not clear how healthy he is. When the Hawks are hitting their outside shots, they are very tough to beat. It's going to come down to the defense of the Sixers. I don't really have a feel for this game either way. I feel like it's going to be a close game, but the spread is not really indicative. I don't think it's going to be a 1-point game. It's probably going to be 2 to 4 point game. That's what I figure. We'll see how it all ends up, but I don't really have a side I like there. And then the Suns at the Nuggets. Nuggets -2 at home. The Suns have a good defense for the Nuggets. The Nuggets do not have a good defense for the Suns. That's the bottom line in this series. The Suns took over the second half of both of the first 2 games. They were playing at home, but the home crowd was pretty quiet until they went on a big run. It was very exciting. And I'm not saying, these are professional basketball players. I'm not saying the crowd affects the outcomes of the games but it didn't seem like it was a pretty quiet stadium or arena until the Suns pulled away in both games. And, they were double-digit lead. And I just don't see how the Nuggets can completely shut down Booker and Chris Paul in this game. If you have to make Jokic play D, it's going to hurt his offensive ability. So I really like the Suns here on the money line. You could take the 2 points, but I think it's like plus 105 on the money line. I really feel like they're the better team here. And if they lose game 3, I might bet them again in game 4. I don't know. The Jazz at the Clippers. The Jazz did just perform super. They've always been a good team at home. They've been impressive defensively, of course, and they've got a deep bench. And the Clippers had trouble with the Mavs at home, and I feel like getting the Jazz 4 points here is a gift. And I feel like the Jazz could win this game outright, but I probably would lean towards taking the 4, and especially if it got to 5, because that's a 2 and a 3. But the Clippers have not impressed at home, and Kawhi really struggled in this last game, and without him, they have no shot. They have absolutely no shot. Doesn't matter if Paul George puts up 30. And then finally, the Nets at the Bucks. I had the Nets last night. After watching them roll out 2 huge wins at home, I said there's no way they could be underdogs. And they got as high as plus 145 on the money line. And then I watched them play last night. Boy, they shot 0 for the Millennium in the first quarter. And they came back, but they didn't come all the way back. And down that fourth quarter, they said on the TV it was a rock fight. It was exactly what it was. It was a brick fight. Good defense on both sides. The Nets were up 83-80, and they ended up losing 86-83. It was a tough. I felt like Kyrie, his last touch, he should have called a timeout instead of trying to do something with a mishandled ball. But that's it. It is what it is. You know, you lose close bets all the time. But I do like the Nets again, and they're now a favorite. I think the bookmakers realized it was a mistake making them a dog. If you did bet the Nets plus 3, you pushed last night, and you would have had a sour taste in your mouth about that as well. But I do like the Nets in this series. The Bucks just don't have enough. If they have one more bad shooting night, they're going to be in a big hole. So I don't feel like they have enough. I really like the Nets to win it all. Watching them play without Harden the way they've played, I feel like they've got the East on lock. And depending who comes out of the West, the Suns and the Jazz obviously are the top two seeds in the West. But I think the Nets would easily handle the Nuggets and easily handle the Clippers. So if there's a good futures number on the Nets, you might want to look and take in that. So without further ado, I'm going to say a lot of the same things over again. Here's my picks, and I picked a soccer match for you in case you want to sweat a little soccer. I believe this is on Sunday. Belgium to win in the three-way market, minus 132 versus Russia. Belgium, I think, is one of the top 4 or 5 teams in this tournament, and I look for them to win this game easily. Islanders money line plus 160. That's just a juicy number for a team that's playing so well. The Suns money line plus 105 again, a good number for a team that's playing very well. And I'm going to take the Jazz plus 4. The Clippers have not shown any type of dominance in this series, and they struggled to show dominance last series until backs were against the wall. So I like the cover there. So we've got 4 plays for you. I'm going to wrap it up short and sweet today. Thank you for tuning in. I apologize for my imperfect math, but I hope I got the concept across correctly. And next week we've got the French Grand Prix, and we'll have some more playoffs, and we're just a couple weeks away from starting our NFL preview. So get ready for all that. Plus we'll have a CFL season starting near the end of the summer. So very excited about what the future brings, and we'll have more sportsbook lessons for you. Thank you for spending time with me today. And enjoy the fine weather wherever you are, and go get some winners. So let's play the outro music for you, and we'll see you next time. Take care, everybody.